Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a military blunders video on Spion Cop. Spionkop. Spion Cop. Hope I'm saying that right. In 1899, the Boer War began in South Africa. In November of 1899, the Boers laid siege to the town of Ladysmith in southern Natal. In mid-January of 1900, a British relief column of around 15,000 men was sent to secure an area of ridges and hills on the approaches to Ladysmith. The dominant feature in this ridgeline was Spion Cop. It's a kind of a mesa. It's a flat-top mountain, a mesa. At any rate, the idea behind this column was they were going to try to secure the entryway to this area so that they could go and give relief to the town of Ladysmith. On the night of January 23rd, 1900, a force of 1,700 British soldiers ascended the southwest slope of Spion Cop. At around 0400, they reached the flat plateau summit and in dense fog, so they couldn't hardly see anything. Visibility was less than 100 meters. They ousted a Boer force of 70 soldiers and suffered only 3 casualties, so they were feeling pretty good. They enjoyed the success and spent the remainder of the night digging trenches. Now, digging trenches in this area was tough because the ground was so hard. It was very rocky. So it was very spotty, and you couldn't dig very deep. When the sun rose, the fog dissipated. The British then realized that they were not on the highest point of the plateau. There was another ridgeline with 3 other high points, all occupied by Boers. The Boers, the fog lifted and they looked down on an area, they were right there. The British were right there in the open, because there wasn't a heck of a lot of cover, These positions provided ideal up on the high ridges. These high ridges positions. Let me start that over. These positions on the high ridges gave the Boers ideal positions to fire down into the British trenches and sweep the plateau clean. The ensuing slaughter lasted all day. Between gunfire and close quarter fighting, the British finally withdrew at 1800. That's 6 o'clock in the evening. The British losses were 650 dead, 554 wounded, and another 170 taken prisoner. Oh Lord, this was a debacle. A lot of people try to blame this on the commander, saying he was the overall commander of the column. But I'd rather blame it on the guy who thought he'd reached the peak but hadn't. The primary mistake in this case was the failure of the British to realize exactly where they were. They assumed that they were on the highest point, and they were not. The high ground is a basic military tenet where the enemy has to fight uphill while your weapons benefit from increased range and your fire can be directed down on the enemy's positions. Which, in this case, when the fog lifted, the Boers were able to fire right down into the British positions, and the British had no cover. They were stacking dead bodies up trying to find cover. It was like a gift from the fates of war for the Boers. When that happened, if you're the military commander, the first thing you do is order a retreat because you're in a bad position. You can't possibly fight uphill to get these guys to secure one of the other positions. You can't stay there and you can't move forward. It's time to get the hell out of Dodge. There's a point where you turn Mother's picture to the wall and retreat. They didn't do that until 1800, 6 o'clock that evening. From dawn till 6 o'clock that evening, they were just taking fire. Location and knowing your position is essential in any military campaign. The British failed in this, and they were decimated. The Boers didn't even have to have really great weaponry. All they needed was be able, oh look, there they are, bang, It's one thing to take a hill, but make sure you're at the top, fellas. That's all I'm saying. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.